Our Jerusalem artichokes are flowering. September has been a busy month. We painted the house and we did a lot of homesteading projects. But we'll do a bit of gardening soon. How are you doing? I'm Martin from Gardens for Life. In this video we're going to be looking at our little bit of a container garden. We were growing some of our tuberous vegetables like the oca and the yacon and the Chinese artichoke in containers, like crates for example, and large pots as well. So let's take a look and see what we've got here. You can already see this is some of the ocas. If you're interested in buying perennial vegetable starts and berry bushes and that kind of thing, we have tubers, cuttings and bare root plants on our website available. So take a look. And if you'd like to become a member of our Gardens for Life support community, please take a look at all of the benefits on our website. So the first thing I should probably tell you about this little container garden here is that we don't actually water it at all. We haven't watered any of this over the summer, but it was a fairly mild summer though. And it is very, very productive. A lot of them are tuberous plants, so we're going to be harvesting those as the frost takes down the foliage. And we'll be making more harvest videos about that. But for now, in this video, I'm just going to show you what we have so far in this little garden, and that you can grow a lot of food in a container garden, even if you don't have a garden, even if you only have a balcony, hopefully south facing, and or bit of a concrete patio out the back of your house. We grow some of these ocas in containers because they just do really well in containers, and we can keep them within range of the cats because rodents love ocas. But they grow in garden beds too. So this is a Yacon plant, and I think an 18.5 litre pot is not big enough for Yacon, as you'll see here from some of our other harvests when we were harvesting them from the ground. But let's see what kind of harvest we'll get from it. So we'll harvest that as soon as the leaves have wilted with the first frost. That'll be in about a month or so. And what else have we? We have carrots. You love carrots, don't you?
Yeah. Good.
So carrots can be grown in a crate like these. And you can see there's quite a few of them. I actually did oversow it a little bit. So they can get quite big, but you do have to sow them a little bit more thinly than what I've done here. I've done too many seeds, of course, in my enthusiasm. But look at that. That's not bad. Please look at that one. Check this one out.
Wow.
Awesome. It's quite substantial carrots actually, considering we took very little effort to grow these. We just put well-rotted mushroom compost, about 6-month-old mushroom compost, into this crate and let them grow. And as we harvest them, the rest of them get more room to grow. So we kind of tin them, but at a later stage, so that we actually get to eat them as we tin them. And of course, this fella here loves scoffing them. So you're the carrot tinner, aren't you? You can tin them and scoff them. Good man. And you put these aside. So we also had some peppers in the greenhouse in pots. That didn't go too well. I think these pots aren't big enough for them. Like there's like a 8 litre pot here. We also grew carrots in a pot as well. But I think crates work better, even though the pot is actually deeper. We also grow all these different types of mints here in crates and in pots as well. You can see the ocas get really big. And then they fall over and take over the place. So these ocas here have been grown in crates as well. But you can see here all these stems. If you were to cover these with some more compost, you'll probably get some more tubers. You get more smaller tubers on top. They're only starting to put on the tubers now. And you can see here, it's just an unbelievable amount of leaves and plant mass. Look at that. And these flowers are edible, they're nice. And the leaves are edible too. So they have a bit of oxalic acid in them, so don't eat too many. They are nice though. They're a little bit citrusy. Well, here is an old oca plant that didn't get planted, unfortunately. And yeah, no, it's just too late now to put it in the ground really. So I just left it here. It'll be okay. There'll be 1 or 2 tubers in it. But excited to see how many tubers we're going to get from all these. Here, I think that's Pascoff by the looks of it, or the Amarello. I used to have about 15 varieties of Ocas, but not anymore, not since the frost wiped out most of it. But I have probably about 5 or 6 or 7 varieties still left. I just mix them up now these days, because it doesn't really make as much of a difference as you think. They're all very, very similar. And oftentimes you can tell by the colour of the tuber, of course, but also by the colour of the stems. You can see how these ones are different from these ones. And these ones, on the other hand, are a completely different colour, you can see. We also grow some Chinese artichokes in crates here. And they're very productive in crates. You can get probably 100 or 150 Chinese artichoke tubers from one crate. And very easy to harvest. I have a video on that, how I dump out a whole crate into a wheelbarrow and just kind of separate them from the compost. But putting them in crates is a good way to keep them and to not lose them in the garden. If you mix them with mint, they're actually in the mint family, they look sort of similar, as you can see here. There's no flavour off the leaves at all though. But the tubers are really nice. They're kind of like water chestnut, like crisp. And you can eat them raw, in a salad especially, they're really nice. Or with mozzarella and that type of thing. Or on their own, even out in the garden. But Chinese artichokes are excellent. And growing them in crates is actually, we find it is easier, and it's just as productive as growing them out in the garden bed. We did also grow some tomatoes, but in containers. But as soon as we planted them out from the greenhouse, even though it was the middle of summer and it was fairly hot and sunny enough out here, they just didn't do too well at all. And so yeah, grow tomatoes indoors if you're in Ireland, unless you're maybe growing a different variety like the Black Prince and some of the other tomatoes that are available for outdoor growing in this type of climate. But you know, trouble is keeping the rain off the leaves, because you're always constantly dealing with the moisture blocking the pores and causing mold. So with particularly thin leaves like potatoes and tomatoes, we're in the same family, they're in the same family, and they often suffer from blight or that type of thing. We don't have blight in our gardens at all, even on our potatoes, and we don't spray obviously, and we haven't had any blight issues on our tomatoes this year. However, they just didn't do too well. It's like we just put them out into the Arctic or somewhere like that, or somewhere really cold, and they just got shocked, I suppose. Even though we did transplant them fairly young, and we did put them out when it was warm enough, they just didn't do too well out here. They did fruit, but not very well. And you'd be amazed how much productivity you can get out of one of these pots here. It's an 18-litre pot, and just from that size of an oca plant here, you can get probably a kilo or so of tubers. And they're really satisfactory to harvest as well. We'll make some videos about harvesting ocas and even yacons from container gardening when the time comes, when the frost knocks back the vegetation. So all of the leaves, look at that lovely flower here. If you don't believe me, you can eat these. Watch this. It's actually nice. It's kind of sweet and sour at the same time. I'd say it'll be probably another month or so by the time we'll start harvesting these. Probably mid-November or so. Let's see. We also have been growing Jerusalem artichokes in crates as well. Although this has been left here for quite a long time now. It's probably at least 3 years left in this container here. And you can see it does grow huge even so. And it is going to be a solid mass of tubers in the actual crate. I'm sure of it, because we've grown Jerusalem artichokes in crates before. So they do very well like that. And you get a good harvest. We do keep some other plants in containers, but only temporarily, not for production purposes. So these are the Golden Tower Elder. And some other, actually another couple of Yacons here that didn't make the transplant. We didn't get a chance to get those out there. And we're quite frankly out of space. We do need to make more garden beds. next year. Or actually this winter we're going to be going at that. You can keep a plant like this in a container for quite a long time, probably for a year or two, but it's going to deplete all of the nutrients in the container, so you need to get it out there eventually. I think the key is always to just cut it back if it grows too lanky or too tall, just cut it back and just let it keep bushing out from the bottom, and you're going to get a really nice plant, well, just like this one. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you at the next one, and please let us know if you have any comments or questions below. See you, bye bye.